Starting a tech career. In this short video, I will tell you about starting a tech career, and I would also talk to you about my specific wall of fame and what a lot of people in the industry over the past couple of decades have shared with me about exactly what their tech career journey looked like. But yeah, back to this starting a tech career. Divided this section into novice, jumping around, and wish. Basically, you want to start a tech career, but you actually have no idea exactly what exactly it is the whole tech itself is. But you've identified here that the one of the ways for you to get money, have a house, have a relationship, have a career, self-development is to use tech as a medium, as your form of employment, or as a form of product itself. Tech is the way you want to go about here. That's the interest you are in. You're in the interest zone. Jumping around itself, I categorize this as it leans more towards the confused zone. It is that you are confused about, do I go into data, AI design, mobile, Flutter? Do I go into marketing? Do I go into products? Do I go into business development? Tech is wide, and you kind of have a little bit of idea that tech is actually wide. So you don't know exactly where to jump into. That's a problem also too. The wish section here, however, is you trying to start a tech career because you want to do something exactly. You wish to build a specific product and you decide, how do I build this product? Oh, I need to learn this to build this product. Basically, or how do I get to work at Google? What programming language do they use at Google? You start asking yourself these questions, and that is what is facilitating the specific part of tech that you want to go into. All these are very interesting. So let me go back into the interest zone. Basically, in this zone, when you are in this specific zone, you would know because you've decided that tech is the mode of career that you want to go into. The tech is the career path that you want to go into, but you've not decided exactly how wide this is going to be for you. You understand? You are interested in it. I mean, the whole point of this is driven by a lot of other factors that we don't really know. Some of them could be financial related, some of them could be the source for you, the cause that you want to protect yourself, you want to have a relationship, a family, you want to have nice cars. I mean, it could also be that you want to solve global warming. A lot of things could be the driving factor of these decisions to go into tech itself. All of them are quite valid. Hear me out. But then this interest zone, most times for a lot of us, is driven by the amount of resources that you have. Resources is the hardware, is the courses, is the electricity, is the internet, is the boot camps and code that you would actually use to learn this course itself. Basically, the more money and time you have, are you working part-time, full-time? Are you pretty young in your career? Do you have a lot of free time to learn? Gives you a lot of options. So this resource zone chart goes way up like this. The more money and time you have, the more options you have, the more you the more you feel like you have chance and time to explore. When you feel like when you don't have enough money and enough time, you want to jump into something quickly and start making money out of it because you feel like you don't have a lot of options. Well, necessarily better, more money and more time in terms of your tech career is good, but not necessarily better always. I'm not saying it's not better. I'm just saying more money and more time when you are in the resource zone does not necessarily mean that it's better. It does not mean that if you have more money and more time, you're going to be the best at the tech career that of your choosing itself. It does not really work like that. Actually, it's good to have more money and time because the more money and time you have, when you get to a certain section, you get into the access zone. It means that you have a lot of money and then you could decide to have access to certain private informations, which is pretty much interesting. You see, that's the reason why it's out of this specific zone itself. But when you are at this specific zone, you want to ask yourself, are you really at this specific zone? Are you a multi-million dollar or empire owner? Are you waiting for that kind of inheritance? You think about it, but a lot of us we are here, or perhaps we happen to make it here. It means that you could afford the basic skills set that's needed. In this case, the electricity, the internet, the courses, you could afford the time. And then this brings you out here into your life decision exactly. Do you want to be happy? That's the whole point itself, right? But do you want to work part-time in tech or you want to go full-time in tech? This brings you back here into the time and money that you have. Do you have enough money to say, I want to work full-time and learn full-time? You understand? I want to go into tech full-time and learn. The average time it's going to take you to convert a tech career into a paying job is probably going to be around 6 months to 1 year. That's average, a lot of it. That's you getting an internship. So you see, the more access you have, the more options you have. With the more access you have, basically means that you probably even end up having an internship faster than somebody else itself. You see, all this joins together, but let me get into the confusion. If you're in this specific section, I think by now you already know exactly what I'm talking about. The driven factors that affect your interest zone that ends up making you choose a resource, making you choose the tech career you want to go into is based on the resource that you have. If you're in this asset zone, you don't have to worry about resource because you have unlimited resources already. Good, more money is good, but it's not better. It's not an automatic thing. Yeah, get into the confused zone. You are specifically here, you know that for me to have this kind of life that I want to do, for me to solve the global warming, for me to have a nice car, tech is the way. But then you've done your research and then you know that there are a lot of fields in tech. And this is confusing to you also because now the question is, which of them do I go into? Do I go into data? Do I go into AI design? Do I want to work with Google, Microsoft? I want to work at OpenAI. I want to work with Flutterwave. A lot of these companies, I want to work at Goldman Sachs. What do I need to learn to work at these sections, these companies, this industry? That could be exactly. The question also could be which of them will give me more money, or which of them would even give me money right now itself. Those are the kind of questions you want to start asking yourself if you're in this confused zone. And when you have an answer to that, that could be shape exactly what field you want to go into. Now, when you make a decision here, it now boils down to this section. Now, this is my own short explanation here, but hear me out. Now, what you should be striving for is the why you want to learn the tech itself. How best is it for you to learn the tech, and where do you want to learn the tech? These are very important questions you should ask yourself. The reason why a lot of people take years jumping around and going back and forth and jumping from one course to another is because they've not figured out these three things. When you have the interest itself and you've made a decision, you understand yourself and you know whether you could commit to take all in or part-time based on the numbers of funds and time that you have. And then you've decided and picked up a specific niche that you want to go into in tech. It leads you into the why. You've decided the why itself. Why I want to solve global warming. I want to have a good life. Then the how exactly is, do you learn better by watching videos, by somebody directly teaching you at a boot camp physically? Are you okay with peer mentoring and on the side? Do you think you could do this yourself? When you have these two, why and how, the next thing you're missing here is the information itself, which is the where. That is a problem for you. The problem that this would cause is you start jumping from one course to the other. You learn on Udemy today, you jump to Udacity tomorrow, you go to AltSchool next tomorrow. Is because you don't know where yet. You've not decided on that where exactly. Now, when you happen to know why you want to learn, and then you know where, the problem how is, but you don't know how, what the problem there is you have a slow career. Simply because you know why you want to learn the tech, you know where you want to learn the tech exactly. You decided to go with AltSchool Africa, Udacity, you're getting a crash course out there, but you don't know how best it is for you to learn because you've not done this experiment on yourself. You start having a slow career. Some might be lucky and just fall into it. Now, when you happen to know how best for you to learn and then where you want to learn, when you know these two things, but you don't know why, that is where every time you face a specific issue or a bug at work, you start getting tired, you start getting confused, you feel like, oh, maybe I should not do this anymore. You see, you start having those doubts because at the initial stage, you never actually identified why you want to go into tech itself. So every small order you come across feels like, hey, this is the last thing I'm going to do. I'm not doing this again. You need to be careful. When you happen to know why, how, and where you fall into this FFF zone, basically it's a fulfillment zone. You have fun learning, it's fast, and then you get to save more funds or make more funds. But that's the whole idea here. So this is the sweet spot where you want to be. You want to be this specific zone. You want to know why, you want to know how, and then you want to know where exactly you should learn. But when you have all these things figured out, it takes me back to self-enlightenment. One of the reasons why self-enlightenment does not have a zone at the back is not because it's not a zone, but it's because when I was writing this, I built the border first. So for some reason, there's no space to write a zone anymore. So just go along with that with me. Self-enlightenment This is something you should think about a lot, and this is something that should apply to not just starting a tech career itself, but getting a job in tech also. This is this is when you start thinking about yourself, and then you start thinking about others itself. So follow me on. Now, at the initial stage, when you were in your interest zone and the confused zone, you were doing all this alone. The interest was yours. You are like, oh, I want to learn tech. You understand? How much money do I have and how much time do I have? What are my options? You understand? Do I have more money? Do I happen to have access to private informations? Am I happy? Can I go all in? Is this a risky decision for my career path? Do I go part-time in this? Do I learn design? Do I learn mobile? Why do I want to do this? How do I do this? Where do I learn this? At this specific section, all your answers here is based on you are alone. And when you get to self-enlightenment, you get to know that not only are you alone, it also means that other people are also alone also, but then other people are also thinking about exactly all these things. So it's like, I want to learn tech, and then you also are aware that other people want to learn tech also. You're not alone in this journey. This is the first section. You want to do this. I want to learn tech. I'm going to be the next Mark Zuckerberg, the next Bill Gates. This is the point here. But then you suddenly became aware that other people also want to become the next Mark Zuckerberg. Other people also want to become the next Bill Gates. You're not special. You're not the one and only person trying to learn tech in the whole world. That is the second level of realization that you come to here. But that's not all. And then you come into the third section that tells you that other people are also aware that other people want to learn tech also. So not only do you want to learn tech, you are aware that other people want to learn tech too. And suddenly you are also now aware that other people are aware that other people want to learn tech. When we get to this realization, that is the part where you now start to understand that I am not alone. Others are in the same predicament, in the same situation, in the same amazing space that I am also. Whatever bug it is you're facing, other people are facing it also. Whatever confused zone you are, you're not the only person there. You're not the first person to think about it. When you get this realization, this was the realization that actually brought about the idea that we started forming tech communities, because we now realize that not only am I facing this problem, other people are facing this problem, and not only are other people facing this problem, other people are aware that other people are also facing this problem also. How about we all come together and have a community where we could assist one another? That's the point. This was the stage in tech where we decided to start creating tech communities itself, because we are now aware that other people have needs. Not only do I have needs, other people have needs, and not only do other people have needs, I am aware that other people are aware that I have needs and they have needs. We are all aware of our individual needs and our collective needs. That is why we started forming community. Basically, the awareness of others. This is a very important thing. Even when you're looking for a job, you want to be sure that not only am I looking for a job, other people are also looking for a job. And other people are aware that other people are looking for a job also. So it's a competition. It's a collective race, but it's also a competition, because you know that not only do I have to be better than myself, I have to be the best to get a job. But that's not all. You also know that other people also want to be the best to get a job also. So that would push you further. Now, this is an interesting part of welcoming change. And before I jump into welcoming change, I want you to check out my wall of fame. Exactly. And wall of fame is basically when I asked about 2019, that was 4 years ago, 5 years ago at this time, I believe. I asked tons of software engineers and tech professionals around the world to tell me exactly how they actually decided to pick their tech career. This was my tweet here. And it's like, oh, ask me. This was 29th of October 2019. How did you decide to learn tech, and why did you decide to pick the specific field you are in? Tell us why. I got a lot of response, man, but then I'll be dividing these responses into selection criteria. So basically, we have Amor Cruz here, who said she did selection by challenge. She selected a tech field based on the challenge that she was facing at that particular time. I bought her as a fashion brand. You could take a screenshot of this. You understand that, and the way through it one by one itself. But basically, she selected this challenge because instead of paying a developer $300,000 naira, which is equivalent to about, let's say, $150. she decided that why not I just learn this skill and do this for my brother and also charge other people to build this. This was selection by challenge. She decided to pick this because she decided that, oh, which is going to save me money at this particular point. Remember the charts where the more money you have, the more access you get. Then I'm going to Jeux, who decided that, oh, I'm a full stack developer using Rails primarily and React, and the tech choice was required because I bootstrap a business. This is selection by need. In order to build a business, and it said, what are the stuff I need to build this business? I need to have engineering skills, and he decided to learn engineering. We have selection by curiosity. Basically, this is the CEO and founder of Front-End Masters. It's an amazing place to learn front-end skills. And he said, I'm from a town, and when I realized that I could publish websites on the world, publish words on the website, and people all over the world could see it, I became interested. This is selection by curiosity. Was curious enough to make this decision. Then selection by environment. This is the influence, variation of people where you are and how that affected your choices and how that's made you who you are now today. I got a couple of Dreamweaver, and for some reason I felt like this is $800. I should not let this go to waste. And this was his environment that made him decide to go into tech. Then there is selection by recommendation. This is an amazing way actually to start a tech career, by recommendation. I was volunteered by my professor, who joined the new cybersecurity and information assurance certification program, and that she was heading, and I trusted her and I joined, and that was the best decision ever. Now she's a cybersecurity expert. But you see, all these specific people's life experience and their selection criteria and ways basically could evolve. It could change, because when you look at Scott Hanselman here, Scott said, I did C# and then I did Java and then I did Delphi, I did Visual Basic, which is VB, and I did C, then later on, you understand? So Scott's trying to tell you that the concept of engineering is pretty much the same. You should be willing to explore and change around what it is you're learning, what it is you're building, what it is that you've put your mind into. Don't be emotionally attached to one specific programming language itself. Welcome change, which is my last graph here, my last section. Welcome change. You know that time plus change. Make sure that for every time you are in, you should be willing to change one or two things, actually. So prepare for a job, set realistic expectations. There's a lot of ways to go about this, but the whole point is know your interests, know the resources that you have, make the decision. When you find yourself into these confused zones, you could pick the tech field you want to learn based off of this set of recommendations. You understand? So that you want to select by curiosity, by need, by recommendation, by environment. When you make that decision, determine why and how and where you want to learn the tech itself exactly, and then be open to self-enlightenment. Know that you are not the only person in this situation. It's important for you to realize that this is a collective thing. People are learning this. It's not just about you, and be willing to welcome change. This is very important also in your tech career. This would help you a lot in getting a job, which I would make a video of about later. And yeah, speaking of where to learn the tech itself, or maybe you're still confused, perhaps you could jump into, let me see, allschoolafrica.com. It's a platform where you could learn tech. There is a lot of courses you could learn from there, but there's also something that they launched recently called Launchpad. Basically, what this does is it allows you to test around different kind of tech careers, and it's completely free. This Launchpad, actually, Launchpad itself is free, but you get to learn more about a lot of tech fields, and then you could make a decision exactly on what particular tech field you want to go into. Launchpad is AltSchool is ISEC accredited institution, and it has vehicle exemption from California. It's also in partnership with GitHub. It's one of the best schools that offer a lot of diploma courses out there. So give it a try, and yeah, good luck on your tech career. Actually, you should be able to do this now. Bye.